fellow marketers. This episode is brought to you by Quick. It is a auto transcription service. And actually this episode was transcribed in only minutes by this amazing service that we here at FSM use all the time. We're going to talk about it more later in the video, but check it out when you do have a minute.
And welcome back to the Film School for Marketers podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Zach Basner. I'm joined by my brilliant co-host, Mariah Anderson.
Hi.
Today, we come to you with some really cool content. I think it's not something that we talk about a lot on the podcast, but it's important. And we have a great guest on to talk about it with us. And so we're here to discuss really how paid social ads play into your overall video strategy. Oftentimes we talk about the organic content marketing strategies and how you can leverage those to get more traffic, more leads, more sales. But there's also another side to that, which is amplifying your content with paid media. And so we couldn't think of anybody better to bring on than our very own Dan Baum.
Hey.
What's up, Dan?
How's it going, guys?
Podcast, my friend.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man. So you're a paid media specialist here at Impact.
That's correct. That's
correct. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so I basically handle all paid media traffic, media buying for clients at Impact, running along the same lines as they ask you answer. Sometimes you just need a little bit extra bump. So I handle primarily Google, YouTube, LinkedIn advertising for clients and just managing their campaigns, helping them reach their goals, whether it's traffic, leads, whatever it is.
Well, I think it's such an important conversation to have because for a lot of companies, social media is a big part of what they're trying to do. But of course, we know organic reach on social is just increasingly difficult, and it's hard to cut through the noise on social without having to spend money. I mean, that's just like, it's table stakes now. If you really want to break through that noise, you have to be willing to put some money behind that. So my first question, because you know our listeners kind of what they're doing and the kind of content they're creating.
Absolutely.
What is, in your opinion, like the best bang for your buck? Like if you were going to pick one of those as like the top one that you should be focused on, especially if you aren't doing any sort of paid media right now, what would it be out of those three?
Yeah. So again, if we're talking about video, specifically YouTube, best bang for buck, 100%. General PPC, Google's probably your best bet because you have your focus on intent at that point, as in users are actually looking for a product or service, and then you're basically saying, "Hey, I'm right here. Click on me." But in terms of video and what you can do with video, YouTube is incredible for the amount of value you get per dollar spent.
I've heard that. How cheap is it exactly?
Yeah, so YouTube, essentially, they'll charge you on two factors, basically how long someone is viewing your ad and if someone ends up clicking on the CTA or clicking on the link to whatever page you're sending them to. So it's average around 6 cents. So 6 cents per view through, and you only get charged unless someone views the entire ad. So if they view the entire ad and then don't click, you get charged. If they view half the ad and they click, you get charged. So really, really, really cost-effective way to get users to your site.
I know quite a few of our listeners are running ads right now, and they're doing it in-house. And these are small to medium-sized businesses. These are not like huge companies. They're doing it in-house. They're probably doing a good job, but I'm going to ask you a really tough question, Dan. I'm not sure how you're going to answer it. How could somebody look at the performance of their paid ads right now and know if they're doing a good job of it?
That is a tough question. So what I would say is it comes down to what you're tracking, what your goals are for that campaign. So everyone out there that's listening, end of the day, they want more leads, so they want more sales, things like that. So you're tracking the number of leads. If your conversions are set up correctly in Google, Google will tell you how many leads you generated. If you're going in a system like HubSpot or other CRM, you can see what contacts or what leads have come in from paid search or paid social, whatever it is. So basically, you just need to be monitoring that. You need to A, monitor the quality of those leads, and B, the amount of those leads. So if you have to just have an internal conversation and say, listen, if my conversion rate on my website is say 2%, my sales team is awesome and they convert 90% of all new leads into sales or whatever it is. You just need to do some backwards math. You want to hit this many leads per month. work backwards from your sales rate to your conversion rate on your website. And then you need to work back on your cost per click. So, and then it's going to tell that working backwards is going to tell you how much money you need to spend if you want to hit that goal. So how much ad budget will it take for you to get enough people to the site, to get enough contacts, and to get enough actual deals closed by your sales team to hit that, whatever your sales goal is for the year or the quarter, or whatever. So the main things that I look at in terms of success is that conversion rate, how many people are clicking an ad or clicking a YouTube ad and converting on the website. And that's if I'm working towards a leads goal. If I'm working towards a brand goal or an engagement, a brand awareness, that kind of thing, I'm looking at click-through rates. I'm looking at how often are people engaging with my content, with my video or the ad, whatever I'm running. How many people are seeing it versus how many that click on it. And if I'm getting good numbers there, if I'm getting, 3-4% of people that see it engage with the ad, then I'm in good shape. Then I know that the content is resonating with the audience, and they like what I'm giving them. So two main factors is going to be overall leads generated or conversions, and click-through rates or engagement rate.
Do you primarily suggest doing paid ads on YouTube for certain industries and certain type of companies, or do you think that it's really applicable to anyone and everybody?
It's actually incredible the level of sophistication when it comes to targeting that you have with Google and YouTube. So it really applies to everyone. If you have the content, you should be running YouTube ads, because the level of targeting you can get is so robust and so minute. You can get down to, even if you're local, you can get down to specific zip codes. You can get down to you could pull search queries in from Google and actually market to those people on YouTube. So if someone's searching for something specifically, you can put them into an audience and market to them, show them your video ad. So it really just comes down to, if you have the content, you should be running it.
As we mentioned earlier, this episode is sponsored by Quick. If you haven't heard of Quick, here's what it does. It allows anyone in your organization to quickly generate open captions for your videos. That means captions that are always there, no matter where your viewers are watching. Video ads, social media, they're always visible. They're going to stop the scroll, and they're going to cater to all of your viewers. Let's be honest, organic reach on social is getting increasingly difficult. And if you're running paid ads, you need to generate an ROI. Quick is going to help you do just that. It uses AI to generate your captions in just a few minutes, and it's very inexpensive, with plans starting as low as $12 a month. Quick has saved marketers and videographers like you over 400,000 minutes of time. So believe me, they are worth checking out. Visit quick.io to try out Quick today.
Why do you think video is such an important part of advertising on social? What makes it so different from just using images or text, or because it seems to me like most of the ads that I see are videos.
Yeah. So people, they say a picture says 1,000 words, video says infinite words at that point, pretty much. We've just seen so much higher engagement with these videos and things like that. So it makes the most sense to be running video instead. Since LinkedIn specifically added video advertising as an option, as opposed to their normal static image content, they get 3 times the clicks, 3 times the engagement. It's a 300% increase across the board with how well the ads perform. So it's just, that's what people want. People see it, even if they don't even listen to it. You see a lot of times people will be advertising with videos that have captions and things like that, because they're going to autoplay when you scroll through your feed and you see the video. Same thing on Facebook, is that people with the captions, they'd rather read the caption and watch the video than actually listen to the video. But it's just the combination of that visual and that text coming in and telling the real story from beginning to end, however long the video is, whether it's a 6-second bumper ad on YouTube or a full minute-long demo preview on LinkedIn. People just enjoy seeing that story a lot more.
I'm going to make an assumption here and say that if a company's doing the ask you answer really, really well, then they're going to have the ability to target well, because they can, retarget traffic that's looking at cost content or problems content or anything with the big 5 or certain things on the website.
Yeah.
So, making that assumption that, okay, now we have a really good audience that we can retarget. do you think that then you continue to repurpose the Ask You Answer content with ads, or do you feel like now you have to have kind of different content that you would use and amplify within social media channels? Is it the same or is it different?
If you have that audience built, that they Ask You Answer qualified, they're engaging with those articles, you have that built out. You can use the same content, especially on the LinkedIn side where you are afforded a little bit longer of a window to in terms of video length. Like you can afford to do a 2-minute video. Those 80% videos are great at that point because someone's already engaged with your brand. They're already familiar with what you do. So getting that 80% video in there, talking about the common questions and things like that you're normally dealing with, just building that audience is, you have it there. They're sitting there, they're waiting for you, and you're just coming to them a little bit faster than they would maybe normally do organically. So answering the same questions, the They Ask You Answer principles, it all applies. It all applies to the things you're doing on LinkedIn.
I'd love to talk about quality a little bit. I know in a previous episode, we kind of discussed how on certain social media platforms, sometimes more user-generated content does better because it's kind of what you expect sometimes on those platforms, or it's kind of easy to not think that that's an ad because it doesn't feel overly polished. So what are your thoughts in terms of what you've seen work well, whether they do the same or one does better than the other, but one that is a bit more, I'd say less polished and more user-generated feel versus one that, people have probably been produced content that they've been using. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like we see success across the board depending. So there's that user generated, like even this conversation, we're on a Zoom call, we're just doing a video chat, something like that. I've seen incredible results, especially coming from like events and things like that, like personal invitations saying like, hey, like my name is Dan Baum, I work at Impact and I want you to come to my event or something like that. That type of content is super powerful because like you said, it doesn't look like an ad. It looks like someone's literally just posting a video, wanting to talk to their followers, their audience. And the truth is you can reach an incredible amount of people with that same, rough video ad. And on the other side, if you do have that nice polished, you do just come off as a high quality producing brand. Like the things you offer are quality. So you do get both sides of the coin, but it depends on what you're trying to accomplish, but have seen success with both. Definitely.
It's almost like that more user generated feel. It just blends in with what they're already seeing in their feed. Yeah. So it's not as intrusive. Whereas when we see that like really high production value polished stuff, there's a large contrast between what we're already looking at versus what we see. And let's be honest, most social media users are pretty clever. Like you would know if something's an ad or not. Like It's not, you're not going to hide that. It even usually says like sponsored. So it's not, you're not really blending it in that well. So do you think, Dan, that this is something like if someone's doing this really well, are they typically in a relationship with an agency like Impact, or do they stand a good chance of doing this on their own? Like, what does it require to do this well on your own without an agency? Yeah.
I would say that, especially in the B2B space, LinkedIn is the most user-friendly and straightforward campaign platform that I've ever used. Anybody can pick that up, choose the level of targeting that you want. You can target based on things like geographic location or job title or job function. You can target specific companies, people that work at your ABM strategy. You can target people that work at those specific companies and market to those specifically. LinkedIn is super easy to pick up. Reading, a few blogs here and there, you should be ready to go on LinkedIn. YouTube's a little bit more complicated. I would say that there's a lot of real-time bidding that goes on. So people that just pick up YouTube, oftentimes they end up either spending too much on things that aren't working, or they're spending money in the wrong places. So I would say that YouTube's probably a little bit slower going. You are going to need some more, whether it's a consultant or some kind of outside help to get up and running. But again, it's made by Google. So, it is made to to generate traffic and, do those things. So it doesn't take long to get up to speed in Google and YouTube, but I would say that LinkedIn is definitely easier.
So that's interesting. So do you feel like it might be a good fit for some people to at least engage with an agency to help them build their audiences and the campaign structure, and then they can like take it from there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. That's the main thing about YouTube is LinkedIn's pretty straightforward in terms of the targeting. Again, job titles, all that stuff I just mentioned. YouTube's a little bit like, I need to target people that are searching specific keywords and only at this time of day. And there's a bunch of other little nuanced things. But yes, once the campaigns are up, the targeting is good, and you're bidding in the right places at the right times and, at the right levels. You can set it and run. And then basically at that point, what you're doing is managing new ads, adding new ads, new content, however often it is. And then you're just pretty much letting that campaign run. Yep.
Yes, that could be a good option for some of our listeners. The way that I like to think about this is it's like, what we do on the consulting side for video production and for content creation, things like that. It's like, we're teaching people how to become financial advisors. But when it comes to paid media, that's like stock trading. It's like advanced stuff that you have to be in the know. You got to know what's happening day to day because everything changes so much.
Yeah.
So I feel like in many cases, it just makes a lot of sense to engage an agency, at least to begin with. Even if it costs a little bit of money, I feel like the returns and the promotion of your content are going to be there. But that also leads me to an interesting question too. How do most agencies structure their pricing when it comes to help with this paid media stuff? If they're doing it for you, or if they're maybe just consulting you to do it yourself, like how does the pricing work there?
Like what you just said, it's like the stock market. The best way I can describe it is Google and YouTube and together is basically gambling at the casino and the stock market combined. It's the best way to describe it like that. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So back to your question. Most companies with the consulting would do based on an hourly rate based on how many hours of time you want to spend with that person. I would recommend at least a couple hours a month when you're getting started. That can run from anywhere, $1,000 a month to $2,500 a month, depending on the level of whoever you're engaging with. And when someone's doing it for you, pricing structures vary based on the level of your account, what you want to spend in that account. So ad spend comes into play there. If you have a bigger budget, it takes more management hours. So they're going to end up charging you more. Some do like a performance fee based a percentage based on how much you're spending that month. They'll take that plus a base fee. And that can range anywhere from a flat rate of $3,500 a month up to, 5,000 plus a percentage of whatever you're spending. So it really it comes down to your budget. And the one thing that I would say is that a lot of people end up being turned off from Google and YouTube specifically because they'll start off doing something on their own. They'll spend a bunch of money or spend what limited money they have and just they get scared of it, and it didn't work out, or they're not tracking things properly, so they don't really know what results they're getting from these campaigns. So they're just like, no, this is scary, it's too risky, I don't want to be involved. But the amount of guardrails you have within Google and YouTube, like there's so many things that you can do to protect that budget, and you're protecting the house at this point to make sure every dollar you spend is the most qualified dollar you can spend. So yeah.
When you look at people who come to us and they've been running ads for a while, is there like 1 to 2 things that you see are red flags that they miss that kind of get in the way of them being successful? That way, people who are doing it in-house, if there's a couple things they might be overlooking that could get in the way, what would those potentially be?
Yeah, the first one that immediately jumps to mind is Google and all of the platforms, Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all the platforms pride themselves at how great their AI is. They say, we have the best formula. We know the math. We know who wants to see your ads, da, 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 da. They don't really know what's going on. They're incredible. Like, I'm not going to lie. A level of automation that they give you is actually pretty incredible. But at first, you don't want the machine, I guess, to be making decisions for you on your behalf. So many times right out of the box, if you click a new campaign in LinkedIn, Google, Facebook, all those platforms, they're going to say, we're going to optimize your ads for you. We're going to rotate the ones that are performing well in and kind of not display the ones that aren't performing so well. But they make that decision, in my opinion, way too quickly. So I like to put that on manual mode. I like to say, rotate my ads indefinitely. Don't prefer ads based on how they're performing, so that I can actually wait till they get to a level of statistical significance. And then I can say, okay, it's clear at this point, this ad isn't performing as well. I'm going to either pause it out, remove it, or create more ads similar to the ones that are performing well. So that's the main thing I would say is like you're the human, you're the brain, you know what people want, you know your company. Make those decisions at first for yourself and for your own campaigns.
Man, I want to keep going. This is incredible. So
you can keep going. I'm a guy got all day.
So do we have a pillar page on the website for paid media, Dan?
We do. We have one for Google and YouTube. Yep.
Okay. So that's a really good resource for y'all listeners to check out and, get more of a kind of an in-depth take on Dan's genius. And we have a great team here at Impacts. Dan, I'd love to have you on at some point in the future to talk about one of these things specifically.
Yeah.
Would love to. Definitely.
So if people want to get in touch with you, Dan, and talk about this anymore, what is the best way to reach you?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Daniel T.Baum. And on Instagram, Danny Gringo with a 0 at the end. And then if you want to reach out on email, whatever it is, dbaum@impactbep.com. So looking forward to hearing from you guys.
Awesome. Well, we're going to drop the paid media pillar in the show notes. We'll also drop a couple articles handpicked by Dan as next steps for you to get started on some of the things that we talked about today, or keep going with what you're already doing. And we appreciate your time. We're honored that you spend time with us. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below. Let us know that you're watching, and make sure you subscribe and tell all your friends about the Film School for Marketers podcast. Until we see you next time, keep learning.